Michael Govier. This is the FTN Network YouTube channel. And this is the end of week looking ahead fantasy baseball show featuring me. Follow me on Twitter at MJGovier. Hulk smash the like button here, of course. That's, you know how to do this. You've been on YouTube before. Subscribe, like, we got it all here. And don't forget, FTN Fantasy is a place where you can find my weekly free article on Tuesdays, Groovin With Govier. That's a weekly roundup. So you can check that out. And then you can come to this video on the weekend. Every weekend I'll be doing this. So we take a look at some pickups and the week ahead for waiver wire and two-star pitchers, which we will discuss here. And if you want to take advantage of the live chat, that will be all yours right now. But it's not just me at FTN Fantasy. I want to let you know that Vlad Sedler, RotoGut, the master of Fab, the Fab Whisperer. A lot of people have nicknames that are unearned, but Vlad's is earned. And if you're not having access to the Fab article every week, it comes out every weekend, he lays it out for every position, 15-team, 12-team. It's just chock full of that, plus scheduling benefits, which hitters will benefit against which teams. All that stuff is in there. I mean, it's just so intensive. And if you don't have a subscription to FTN, this is a great time to give it a shot now. Use my promo code MJGovier. All right, that's enough of that. I just want to let you know there's other people besides me, of course, at FTN Fantasy for season-long fantasy baseball who know a thing or two. Today, let's talk about where we are and what's going to happen. Now, there's a return of a player in Arizona named Jake McCarthy. Real bust coming into the season, right? Jake McCarthy, very disappointing. Not a guy that I was into. I was not drafting Jake McCarthy because I thought he had overachieved a bit and that his ADP had gotten a little too high coming into draft season. And sure enough, Jake McCarthy didn't work out. He was demoted by the Diamondbacks. Dominic Fletcher came up. He's played well for a bit, but it hasn't lasted. And this is a classic move where a guy struggles and he leaves. And he goes back down to the minors, and Jake McCarthy played much better, and now he's back. Now, Jake McCarthy has more value to me because he went back down. He learned a thing or two about, hey, what did I do wrong? What can I apply next time I get a chance to get back up there? And that's the kind of guys I like. Not the guys who come off one of their best seasons so far, but rather the guys who, they get humbled. You get demoted in baseball, you get humbled. And remember that. Make sure you guys use the live chat while you're here because it's totally open for you. I'll answer any questions you got while I'm live. This is happening now in real time. And if you're watching this after the fact, make sure you catch us every Saturday at 6 p.m. live so you can ask questions. But I will try to catch up on the YouTube comments after the fact when I'm not here. So let's take a look at some hitter ads. I got a nice little graphic for you all lined up. These are some guys that I'm looking at this week, and Jake McCarthy is going to be one of those guys. So here we go. There he is. See? He's number 4. He's the 4th guy there. He's the guy that I thought, okay, this is a guy I'd like to add because of what I just described. At the same time, Luis Arias is going to return for the Brewers, and it happens to be right at a time, right at a time when the Brewers lost Willy Adames after that awful concussion last night. Willy Adames is on the 7-day IL for concussion. Who knows how long he'll be out? And some people were like, well, Luis Arias of the Brewers, not Luis Arias of the Marlins. It happens all the time. I know some of us make that mistake. But the Brewers' Luis Arias, a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, he's coming back off the 60-day IL. Remember, he popped a hammy on opening day at Wrigley. But, the Brewers got a lot of guys they like to play. They got Brian Anderson, right? And Owen Miller's been on a tear for the Brewers. And they even got Mike Brauso, who's a savvy veteran bat. And then you throw Willy Adames in the mix. Where's Luis Arias going to fit in? But now that Adames is out, it makes it much simpler and clearer, which may be bad for those of you that are going to spend money on your fab to get Luis Arias. You might be disappointed now because you thought, hey, I'm going to get the guy who will be cheap because people aren't sure he's going to have playing time. But one of the benefits as well is if you already picked up Luis Arias, you're sitting pretty because you know he will play. I like Luis Arias of the Brewers a bit more in OBP. He's got a good eye. He can get on base, but he's not the best for average in roto situations or head-to-head cats where your category is average. If it's OBP or OPS, I like Luis Arias in that situation. Plus, multi-eligibility is so nice to have. Depending on your format, Arias has second base, shortstop, third base, all available. That's good. That's good stuff. That's what we like. Let's take a look at some other hitter ads I'm recommending here. These are leftovers just in case. Now, I'm going to throw in Matt McLean with Mr. Edouard Julien of the Minnesota Twins, who hit another home run today. Julian's looking outstanding, and he might be playing his way into a situation where he could stick around. But the only problem is, if Jorge Polanco returns, whenever Jorge Polanco returns for the Twins, he's not a guy who's going to sit on the bench. So that's the only thing. How long can this last for Julien? I love Julian's bat. He's a real professional major league hitter. There's no doubt about it. And so is Matt McLean. Both of these guys are hitters. I picked up Matt McLean all across the universe last weekend. If he's still available anywhere, 12-team leagues, 10-team leagues, pick him up. This guy can play. He knows the game. He knows how to hit. He knows how to run. And he's just going to be someone who can give you some stats even when he's not rolling so well. Matt McLean is a stud, and so is Edouard Julien. I just worried about Julian's playing time. And then you think about a guy like Royce Lewis, who is another guy I wanted to mention as a possible pickup this week. Royce Lewis is a guy that will come into the fold and make that more complicated. And will Julien suffer at the hands of Royce Lewis? Well, you don't have to worry about that necessarily with Carlos Correa's situation and his plantar fasciitis. So there's a lot of moving parts with the Twins. Plus, Alex Kirilloff's not playing that great right now. He could lose out eventually. And maybe there could be outfield opportunities for one of these two Twin players. A lot of moving parts. But Matt McLean is safe. Matt McLean's not going anywhere. Even when Elly De La Cruz finally gets the call for the Reds, their super stud prospect, it will be Mr. Matt McLean that is still in the lineup, still making plays. And Nick Senzel will likely move to outfield from third base when Elly De La Cruz finally gets a call. By the way, Elly De La Cruz is a no-brainer stash, in case you've never heard of him, if this is the first time. A lot of people know him, but, I don't know what everybody knows. You got to cover all your bases here on the Fantasy Baseball Show. It's the Fantasy Baseball Show with Michael Govier? Sure, why not? Basically, I'm here representing our entire fantasy baseball department, which also includes Eric Cross with prospects, and Matty Davis, Todd Whitestone, Adam Young. We got articles all week long. Some of them free, some of them are in the subscription. Mine's free, so you can check that out every Tuesday, and then the other ones are worth the money. I mean, Eric Cross, when it comes to prospects, masterful. And Matty Davis is putting together a really good bullpen report. That thing is really gaining some steam. Nice job, Matty. All right, real quickly on this list, I've got Rougned Odor on this list. That's right. If you noticed it when I first flashed his graphic, he's on fire right now. Rougned Odor is doing that thing he does. It's just something about every single baseball season, even when he's left for dead, Rougned Odor comes back to life for another team. We saw it with the Yankees last year. This year, he's happening with the Padres. He's had 2 dongs over his last 4 games. He's also playing pretty regularly. In fact, he led off today against the Yankees. He did go 0 for 5. Now, this is purely, for you pros out there who've been around a long time, this is purely just to take a stab for now. This is not a long-term play. Odor will not last. Odor will go cold. He whiffs a lot, and he doesn't walk. And eventually, Rougned Odor will be an afterthought. But for right now, he's hot on the Padres, and the Padres are desperate for offense. So desperate, they'll do what they got to do, and that means playing Rougned Odor. Remember Manny Machado's, he's got that small hand fracture in his hand. He's been out. So I say, Ryan Odor, maybe he lasts another week, really. It's not going to be very long. But for this week, it's worth adding guys. If you want production now, take advantage of it. Of course, you got to check the schedule, and you got to say, who's up next on the schedule? Well, after New York Yankees, the Padres head on down to Miami for a 4-game series. That's right, 4-game set with the Marlins. And who's pitching for the Marlins against those Padres? Well, that series starts on Tuesday. They get Sandy Alcantara, a righty, but then they get Braxton Garrett and Jesus Luzardo, 2 lefties. That could be an issue there for Odor. That's why you got to look at the schedule. So he might not play every day because he very much is, Odor's a classic platoon bat, a guy who gets hot for a minute. I've never been a Rougned Odor guy, but I recognize a guy who's on a heater. And when he's on a heater, you got to do it. But he hits left, and if he's facing Braxton Garrett and Jesus Luzardo this week, odds are he gets benched for both those games. That's my feeling on that. So be wary when I say Rougned Odor. It's more of a just for now, give it a shot. Don't last long with Rougned Odor, because it won't last long. It never does. Then I mentioned Jake McCarthy already. He's definitely worth bringing back into the fold, especially if you need steals. And then Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger's had a rough start to the season. It has not looked good. But, All it takes is one. That's right. All it takes is one moment in time. And Mitch Haniger looked really good Friday night. He went 3 for 5 with a dong 4 ribbies. And, he's had some multi-hit games here over the last 10 days. And once again, today against Milwaukee, he's 2 for 3. So I have a real good feeling we're about to see Mitch Haniger go on a tear. And you want to be in business with him. You definitely do. Mitch Haniger is only 34% rostered in Yahoo leagues. He's widely available. So this is a great time to get out of Mitch Haniger before it's too late, because the best part of his season, remember, he had an injury to start the year, so he missed the first few weeks of the season. Then he comes in late. He's on a new team again. He left Seattle. He's with the Giants now, and the Giants are a good team. The Giants are really starting to show it now. I've liked the Giants since the season started. There's a lot of valuable fantasy pieces on San Francisco, and Mitch Haniger is just another one of those players. He absolutely is. So make sure, if Haniger is available in your league, pick him up. Do yourself a favor. All right, let's talk about some 2-star pitchers. Give me 2, Utah. I wish I had my buzzer button here. I'd love to hit the Gary Busey, give me 2. 2-star pitchers this coming week. Here we go. Oh, that's not them. Whoops. I clicked the wrong button. Mistakes were made. What can I say? But as far as 2-star pitchers this week, there are several guys that are not worth your time, and you should avoid them entirely. And then there are other players where you should say, okay, well, look, this guy has a good matchup here, but maybe the second matchup isn't so great. And that's where you could get yourself into trouble, okay? So take a look at this list. I've only listed these 4 guys because I think the other guys I didn't mention, I don't want to take a risk on. I thought these were the best options for you, 2-start streamers who could also be available. Now, Bobby Miller had a big start in his debut against Atlanta on Tuesday. He's going to be a hot name. People are going to want to spend money on him, or he may already be added in your fantasy team. And Michael Kopech, he looked really good against 2 inferior opponents, as a lot of people would say. But remember that Kopech also, we're starting to see as we end May and move into June, you're looking at a situation where certain players who had injuries, slow start, but then they round into form. And if they've got that talent, eventually it's going to shine through. Mitch Haniger's starting to do that, and Michael Kopech's starting to do that too. So I think Michael Kopech's a fine play, a fine choice this week. I liked him a lot. I drafted him. I did a mock draft back in March that was done by NBC Sports Edge, and I drafted him in an auction for $1 there. And that was when the knee injury was still healing, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, Kopech's a talented pitcher, and once he's right, I want him on my roster. And if I have IL spots, that's just a bonus as well. So I'm pro Michael Kopech. I don't think it was just because of his opponents being, maybe not dominant. Okay, Kansas City, what can I say? But Kopech's got the Angels and my Bozo Tigers at home this week. So 2 home starts. Angels, it's a fearsome offense. My Tigers are scrappy. They'll score some runs. They'll get some hits. They're not going to score a ton or get a lot of hits. And they also don't walk very much at all. My Bozo Tigers are really bad at that. I call them my Bozo Tigers because they're run by a Bozo owner. That's how I say they're a Bozo squad. And sometimes Bozo can be good, but in this case, I'm saying Bozo is a bad term. It's like bad from the 80s. You're bad. No, you're bad. Bad person. Yeah, there's 2 different ways to use that. Bobby Miller, a lot of hype. Triple-digit fastball. He's got 3 pitches he can throw with confidence. He threw 5 different pitches in his debut Tuesday, but I say 3 he can throw with confidence. I really like Bobby Miller the rest of the season. I think this is a guy that'll be worth it, and if you haven't picked him up already, you should do so. He's got 2 home starts this week, one against the Nats, which is really nice. But then the second one, a little tougher. Yeah, it's going to be the Yankees, right? So not every start is created equal, and that's okay. But I still think Bobby Miller's worth rolling out this week for his 2-start 2-stepper at home, both games. And then I threw in Logan Allen here. I don't know why Logan Allen gets disrespected so much. Logan Allen is a really good pitcher, and he's widely available in Yahoo leagues. Really. There's plenty of shares of Logan T. Allen to be added. He may not be Tanner Beebe, but I think he's not even far off from Beebe at all. I actually see them as very close. I think Gavin Williams in Cleveland is the ultimate, and then those 2 guys are right next to each other. So pick up Logan T. Allen for his 2-stepper this week. I don't know why he's available in so many leagues. You do yourself a favor. He's going to help your squad. I picked him up a month ago in a couple leagues, and he's been real solid for me. Yeah, real solid. Yes, he's got Baltimore and Minnesota both on the road this week. That might be scary, but remember, Baltimore's park is not what it used to be because they moved the fences last year and it's benefited pitching. It has. It really has, especially against right-handed bats. Logan T. Allen's a lefty. Remember that. I like the two-step. I think it's a safe play. And I threw JP France on there just to give you one more option. That was really the 4 best two-step options I could give you from the coming week ahead. That's because there's some guys that I just can't recommend. I can't do it. So those are the 4 I could recommend. There it is one more time. These 4 guys. Kopech, Miller, Allen, and JP France. And that'll do it. There you go. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my weekend and catch some baseball. And I got to work on my fab for Sunday night tomorrow. But for now, it's time to relax and just have a good old time. So I hope this was useful for you. Remember, I'm Michael Govier. Follow me on Twitter at MJGovier. Subscribe, like our YouTube channel. I'm going to do this video every weekend. It'll be an end of week, looking ahead to the next week video. So that's why it's really, really a nice spot to be in on a Saturday. Thank you so much. Don't forget, FTN Fantasy. Head on over there. Take a look around at our MLB season-long, even our DFS over on FTN Daily. We do it all. Baseball is the name of the game here at FTN. That's what we do. That's what we do. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend.